The red sun hung low over Mars Base 7 as the school bell rang across the colony. The children ran through the clear tunnels that connected the learning domes to the living quarters. It was another normal day until the door opened and a new student stepped in. Her name was Mina, a small, quiet girl from Earth. She carried a dented lunchbox and wore a faded blue jacket that looked older than anyone else's. The teacher, Mr. Dale, smiled kindly. "Class, this is Mina. She just arrived from Earth. Please make her feel welcome." Some kids waved, some whispered. It was rare to see someone come from Earth these days. The planet had been through harsh times and most colonies were now born on Mars. The air inside the dome smelled clean, filtered, and recycled. For Mina, it still felt strange compared to the open winds of her homeworld. But what caught everyone's attention was not the girl herself. It was the dog walking beside her. A huge German shepherd with golden brown fur and dark eyes. He wore a black collar with old tags, and a small light blinked on its side. The dog walked calmly but alert, his head turning slightly every time someone moved too close. Mr. Dale blinked in surprise. "Ah, you brought your companion animal. That's fine, as long as he behaves. What's his name?" Mina answered softly. "His name is Bruno." Bruno sat down next to her desk as if he understood every word. The student stared. Pets were allowed for therapy and comfort, but none of them had ever seen a dog like that. The colonies had small cats and engineered animals that could survive low air pressure, but a full-sized Earth dog was rare and expensive to keep alive on Mars. During lunch break, Mina sat alone near the viewing glass that looked out toward the red desert. Bruno sat beside her quietly. The other kids ate in groups, laughing and sharing food packets. Some of them pointed at her and whispered. Rin, a tall boy with a sharp haircut, leaned toward his friend Tav. "Look at her. She still eats Earth rations. Probably doesn't even know how to use a food printer." Tav snickered. "And that dog. Who brings an old Earth dog here? It must stink inside that helmet of his." Mina ignored them. She opened her lunchbox carefully and shared a piece of dried meat with Bruno, who took it gently and wagged his tail once. Rin frowned. He wasn't used to being ignored. He threw a small pebble near her shoe. "Hey, I'm talking to you, ground girl." Bruno's ears twitched. His head turned slightly toward Rin and his dark eyes locked on him. For a moment, Rin felt cold under that gaze. The dog didn't bark or move, but something about the way he looked was heavy, like a warning. Rin swallowed and forced a laugh. "What's wrong? Dog doesn't like me?" Mr. Dale called from the doorway. "Rin, stop throwing things and finish your lunch." The boy muttered something under his breath and looked away. Mina didn't say a word. She finished her food quietly and rested her hand on Bruno's head. Later that day, the children had science class about planetary soil samples. The teacher showed holograms of minerals found in the desert and asked everyone to name them. Mina raised her hand once and gave the correct answer. Her voice was calm and clear. Mr. Dale smiled proudly. Rin rolled his eyes. Of course she knows. Probably studied dirt all her life on Earth. The class laughed, but Mina didn't respond. She kept taking notes. Bruno, sitting near her chair, looked up at the laughter, then back at her as if waiting for a command. Mina reached down and patted his head and he relaxed. When the bell rang, the children left the room. Rin and Tav stayed behind, watching her walk down the tunnel toward the exit. "You think she's scared?" Tav asked. Rin smirked. "She looks scared. That dog won't always be around. Maybe tomorrow we see how brave she really is." That evening, Mina and Bruno returned to their small quarters on the edge of the colony dome. The room was simple. 2 beds, a desk, and a window showing the fading light of Mars. Mina's father worked at the mechanic yard, repairing mining vehicles. He wasn't home yet. Mina sat down on the floor beside Bruno and whispered, "I know they don't like us. It's okay. We'll just stay quiet." Bruno tilted his head. His collar light blinked softly. When he breathed, a faint hum came from deep inside his chest, almost like hidden machinery. Mina smiled and brushed his fur. "Don't worry. You're still my best friend." Outside, the red dust storm began to rise, covering the dome in haze. The next morning, Mina woke early. She walked to school again with Bruno beside her. People in the colony corridor stepped aside to let them pass. Some looked curious, some a bit afraid. The dog's presence demanded space. In the classroom, Rin whispered to Tav, "I heard her father fixed that dog from an old war drone. My brother works at the docks. He said the dog's not real. It's half machine." Tav looked surprised. Half machine? That's creepy. Yeah, maybe we should see what happens if we test it. During recess, they followed Mina to the outer garden dome, where students could walk between the small plants and soil beds. Mina liked to sit there because it reminded her of Earth. Bruno sat beside her, watching the students who walked past. Rin picked up a small rock from the path and tossed it gently so it rolled near her shoe. Mina ignored it. Then he threw another, a little closer. Bruno's head turned, his gaze sharp and cold. Rin laughed. Hey, relax, dog. I'm not hurting anyone. He threw a third one, aiming near Mina's leg. Before the rock touched the ground, Bruno moved. It wasn't a normal movement. It was fast, silent, and precise. His paw came down, catching the stone midair, claws closing around it like steel fingers. The impact made a faint cracking sound. Rin froze. Tav's mouth opened in shock. Bruno didn't growl. He simply looked at Rin, eyes unblinking. His muscles stayed still, but everyone could feel the warning in the air. Mina stood up slowly. Bruno, it's okay. The dog released the crushed stone, which fell into the dust in 2 broken pieces. He stepped back beside her, tail low, eyes still watching the bullies. Rin tried to laugh, but his voice cracked. Nice trick. Guess the dog learned some old combat moves. Mina looked straight at him. He learned to protect, not to fight. Please don't test him. She walked away calmly, Bruno following at her side. The other students who saw the scene stayed silent. No one said anything, but everyone remembered the speed and the strength of that movement. Later, in the teacher's office, Mr. Dale reviewed reports from the school cameras. He paused the screen when he saw the frame of Bruno catching the stone. He zoomed in. The dog's eyes showed a faint blue reflection, like the lens of a targeting system. He frowned slightly. Strange, he whispered to himself. That's no ordinary pet. When Mina came to class the next day, no one tried to bother her. The children gave her space. But Rin's pride was still hurt. He didn't like being ignored or made to look weak. During lunch, he leaned toward Tav again. You saw the way he moved. That's not a normal dog. I'll bet he's some old Earth military robot. My cousin says they used dogs like that during the defense wars. You think the teachers know? Tav shrugged. Does it matter? He's not hurting anyone, Rin grinned. Not yet. That afternoon, Mina stayed after class to clean the art room. Mr. Dale thanked her for helping and left early to attend a meeting. The lights dimmed as the outer dome switched to night cycle. Rin and Tav waited outside near the corridor corner. When Mina stepped out, Rin called out, Hey, ground girl. Going home alone tonight? Bruno growled softly, a deep sound that echoed in the tunnel. Rin took a step back but forced a laugh. Relax, we just want to talk. Mina shook her head. Please move. I don't want trouble, Rin smirked. Then tell your robot dog to sit. Let's see if he obeys. Bruno's eyes glowed faintly. His body lowered slightly, his paws ready. Mina placed her hand on his head. Bruno, stay. She faced Rin with calm eyes. He's not a robot. He's alive. My father fixed him when everyone else gave up on old machines. He's part of our family. Tav looked nervous. Rin, maybe we should go, but Rin didn't listen. He stepped closer. Then prove it. Tell him to shake hands. Mina stared at him silently. Bruno's head tilted. For a moment, Rin saw a flicker of light pass through the dog's fur, like metal underneath skin. He froze. Mina turned and walked away, Bruno beside her. They didn't look back. When she reached home, her father was waiting. He was a tall man with grease on his hands and a kind smile. How was school? He asked. Mina hesitated. It was fine. Some of them don't like Bruno. Her father sighed. They'll learn. People fear what they don't understand. But you must remember, Bruno isn't like other dogs. He remembers things. He was built to defend soldiers during the war. I changed his system to protect you instead. Mina looked at Bruno. He already did. Her father smiled slightly. Good, but be careful. He's loyal beyond measure. If someone threatens you, he won't stop unless you call him back. Promise me you'll keep him calm. Mina nodded. I promise. Bruno wagged his tail once and rested his head on her lap. His eyes closed, but the small light on his collar stayed on, glowing softly in the dim room. Outside, the wind howled over the dome. Inside, the quiet hum of the old German shepherd filled the silence. He had been built for battle, reforged for peace, and now stood guard over a little girl far from home. The next morning, the colony lights switched from night cycle to dawn mode. A soft red glow filled the glass tunnels as people hurried to their work. Mina walked quietly beside Bruno. His steps were steady and his tail moved once in a while. The sound of his paws against the metal floor echoed softly. The air in the corridor felt dry but clean. Mina had grown used to the colony's rhythm. Every sound had order. Every person had a task. Yet she still missed the smell of wet soil from Earth. Here, everything smelled like metal and filtered air. At school, the students gathered for morning lessons. Mr. Dale welcomed everyone, but the class still whispered about the new girl and her strange dog. Mina took her seat in the back. Bruno lay down beside her desk, silent but alert. Rin and Tav sat 2 rows ahead. Rin leaned closer to Tav and spoke in a low voice. "See her sitting there? She acts like she's better than everyone." Tav shrugged. "She's just quiet. Maybe she doesn't know how things work here." Rin smirked. "Then we'll teach her." During the first hour, the teacher spoke about Mars mining routes and new oxygen systems. Mina listened carefully and took notes. She was a fast learner. Her answers during class were clear and simple. Mr. Dale often praised her effort. When the class ended, the students went for lunch. Mina walked toward the small garden dome again. She liked that place because it reminded her of home. Small green plants grew inside glass boxes, their leaves waving under the artificial light. She sat near a corner and opened her lunchbox. Bruno sat beside her as always. She shared a piece of food with him and smiled when he gently took it from her hand. Rin and Tav saw her sitting alone. They whispered something to their friends and started walking toward her. Tav hesitated. "Are you sure about this?" Rin grinned. "Relax, it's just fun." They stopped near Mina. Rin crossed his arms. "So ground girl still eating that old stuff? Don't you know how to print real food?" Mina looked up. "I like this food." "It is from Earth," Rin laughed. "From Earth? You mean from the trash planet?" Bruno's ears twitched. He didn't move, but his eyes turned toward Rin. The dog stayed calm, yet something in his stare made Rin feel nervous. He stepped back slightly and tried to hide it. Tav spoke quietly. "Maybe we should go." The dog looked serious. Rin shook his head. "He's just a pet." He bent down and waved his hand near Bruno's face. "Hey, dog. Do you even understand me?" Mina placed her hand on Bruno's head. "Please don't do that," Rin chuckled. "You think he'll bite?" Mina stood up slowly. "He won't hurt you if you stop." The way she said it made Rin pause. Her voice was not angry, but it carried strength. For a moment he didn't know what to say. He forced a laugh and walked away with Tav. Bruno watched them go, his body still tense. Mina knelt beside him and whispered, "It's all right. Thank you." Bruno licked her hand and relaxed again. That evening, the story spread through the students. Everyone was talking about the new girl and her strange dog that seemed to understand everything. Some said he was half robot. Others said he came from a secret military lab on Earth. In the next few days, Rin and Tav started their teasing again. They never touched Mina, but they made small remarks and jokes whenever she passed. Mina stayed calm. She focused on her lessons, and Bruno stayed close to her side like a silent guardian. One afternoon, during physical training class, the teacher asked students to run a short race inside the sports dome. The path was covered with artificial sand to simulate Martian soil. Rin saw this as a chance to embarrass Mina. Before the race began, he whispered to Tav, "Watch this." "I'll make her fall." The whistle blew. The children started running. Mina ran slowly, her small feet pushing through the soft sand. Bruno sat at the side, watching. Rin ran beside her and kicked a little sand toward her shoes. She stumbled but kept going. Rin laughed loudly. Mina said nothing. She reached the finish line after most of the others, breathing heavily but still calm. Mr. Dale smiled at her effort. "Good job, Mina, you didn't give up." Rin's laughter faded. For some reason, he didn't like how she stayed quiet no matter what he did. He wanted to see her lose control, but she never did. That evening, Rin sat with Tav at the Colony Cafe. The room was filled with workers and students. "I don't get it," Rin said. "She acts like she doesn't care about anything. That dog is the only thing she talks to." Tav stirred his drink. "Maybe that's why. Maybe the dog is all she has," Rin frowned. "Then we'll see what happens if he's not around." Tav looked uneasy. "Don't do something stupid. The teacher's already warned us." Rin ignored him. "Relax, I just want to know what makes that dog so special." The next morning, Mina arrived at school early. The corridor was quiet. Only a few lights were on. She placed her bag on her desk and sat down. Bruno lay near the doorway, his eyes half closed. Rin entered the classroom quietly. He walked toward the dog and stopped a few feet away. He looked around. No one was there. He reached into his pocket and took out a small piece of metal from a robot toy. He tossed it near Bruno's tail, expecting him to chase it. Bruno didn't move. His eyes opened slowly and locked on Rin. The faint blue glow inside his pupils grew stronger. Rin froze. He could hear a low humming sound from the dog's body, almost like a machine warming up. Then Mina turned her head. "Rin, why are you doing that?" Her voice broke the silence. Rin stepped back quickly. "I wasn't doing anything. I just dropped something." Bruno stood up, still watching him. Rin's chest felt tight. He could sense something powerful inside that animal, something more than muscle and bone. He forced a laugh and walked away before the teacher came in. The day passed quietly after that, but Rin couldn't stop thinking about what he saw. That glow in Bruno's eyes was not normal. Later, during the lunch break, Rin gathered a few older students from another class. They were known for causing trouble. One of them, Lark, had a pair of metal gloves used for handling heavy tools. Rin told them about the dog and the new girl. Lark laughed. "So you're scared of a pet?" "Maybe you need me to deal with it." Rin shook his head. "Not scared. Just curious. I think it's a machine. Maybe it can be shut down." Lark smiled. "Then we'll find out." After school, Mina walked home through the outer tunnel. The red light outside the glass showed the endless sand of Mars. Bruno walked beside her calmly, but his sensors picked up faint footsteps behind them. His ears lifted. Mina turned slightly. She saw shadows at the end of the corridor. She knew it was Rin and the others. She kept walking. When she reached the intersection near the water station, Rin and 3 older boys stepped out. Lark cracked his metal gloves together. "Hey, Earth Girl. We want to see your dog do tricks." Mina stopped. "Please let us go home." Rin grinned. "Come on, it's just fun." Lark stepped closer. "Tell your dog to fetch." Bruno moved forward slightly, standing between Mina and the boys. His tail was still, his eyes glowing softly. Mina spoke calmly. "Bruno, stay." The boys laughed. "Look, it obeys her like a real machine." Rin reached for a small stick on the ground and waved it. "Fetch." Before the stick touched the floor, Bruno's eyes flashed brighter. His head turned slightly and the air filled with a low electric hum. The boy stepped back without realizing it. Lark lifted his hand, showing the metal gloves. "Let's see if he can handle this." He swung one glove in the air. It made a faint spark. Bruno moved one step forward. His paw hit the ground with a sharp sound. The metal floor vibrated. His gaze locked on the gloves. A blue light line moved across his collar. Mina's heart raced. "Bruno, stop." He froze at her voice, still tense but not attacking. Lark's gloves flickered and went dark. The power units inside them shorted out. Lark looked down in shock. "What happened?" Mina stepped back slowly. "We don't want trouble. Please let us go." Rin's mouth went dry. He looked at the silent dog and then at Mina. He felt something heavy in the air, a quiet power that made it hard to move. Without another word, Mina turned and walked away. Bruno followed her closely. When they reached home, her father was waiting again. He noticed her worried face. "Mina, what happened?" She hesitated. "Some boys followed me." Bruno scared them, but he didn't hurt anyone. Her father sighed. "I knew this would happen. People see power and they want to test it. Remember what I told you. Bruno is not a toy. His systems can do things others cannot understand. You must always stay calm." Mina nodded. "He listens to me." Her father smiled weakly. "Good, that means you have earned his trust. But be careful. If someone pushes too far, Bruno might react on his own." That night, Mina lay in bed while Bruno rested beside the door. The faint sound of his inner systems filled the room like a quiet heartbeat. Outside, the storm winds howled again across the red plains. Mina closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you for protecting me." Bruno lifted his head, watching the shadows move across the wall. He didn't sleep. His sensors scanned every sound, every vibration. He had been built to protect soldiers, but now his mission was different. He guarded a little girl far from home. The sun was low in the Martian sky, casting long red shadows across the colony. Mina walked toward school with Bruno by her side. The tunnels were quiet, most students already inside the classrooms. Bruno moved silently beside her, eyes scanning every corner. He had grown accustomed to the routine, but he never relaxed completely. Mina had noticed the whispers. Every time she walked past a group of students, they looked at her and Bruno differently now. Some were curious, others cautious. Even the teachers seemed more alert, though they never said anything. In the classroom, Mr. Dale greeted everyone and started the morning lesson on energy grids. Mina listened carefully and answered questions with calm confidence. Bruno lay down beside her desk, occasionally glancing at the door. Rin and Tav sat near the window, whispering. Rin leaned closer to Tav. I want to see what that dog can really do. It can't just be a pet. That glow in its eyes is not normal. Tav shrugged. Maybe it's just some fancy collar. Rin shook his head. No, it's more than that. Tomorrow we'll test it. During lunch, Mina walked to the outer garden dome. She liked that quiet place. Small green plants grew in glass containers. The air smelled faintly of water and soil. Bruno sat beside her, eyes alert as usual. A group of students approached from the corner. Rin led the group. He carried a small metal rod, a tool from one of the labs. Hello, Earth Girl, he said. Do you think your dog can handle this? Mina stopped and looked at him calmly. Please don't do that. Bruno does not like being provoked. Rin laughed. We are not provoking him. We are just curious. Bruno's ears twitched. His eyes locked on Rin. The faint hum from his collar grew slightly louder. Rin noticed it but tried to ignore it. He lifted the metal rod slightly, pointing it near the dog. Bruno moved, but not like a normal dog. He did not bark. He did not lunge. His muscles tensed and his eyes glowed brighter. The air seemed to change around him. The small light on his collar flashed in a slow rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. Mina stepped forward. Bruno, stay. Bruno obeyed instantly. He lowered his body, tail still, eyes fixed on the group. Rin's laughter faded. He raised the rod higher. Suddenly, a spark jumped from the rod. Bruno's paw tapped the metal ground and the rod flew out of Rin's hand. It hit the glass container of plants and bounced harmlessly to the floor. Rin stepped back, wide-eyed. Lark, one of the older students with metal gloves, stepped forward. What just happened? Mina took a deep breath. Bruno is not just a pet. He was built for protection. He can sense danger and react faster than anyone can imagine. Please leave us alone. The older boys exchanged nervous glances. They had seen sparks from the gloves, but the dog had stopped them without hurting anyone. Rin tried to act brave. It's just a trick. I will try again tomorrow. Mina said nothing. She picked up her lunch and walked toward the corner of the dome. Bruno followed, still alert. The other students watched quietly, unsure if they should leave or stay. After school, the colony bell rang, signaling the end of lessons. Mina walked through the corridor. Bruno moved beside her silently. Rin and Tav followed from a distance, whispering to each other. At the corner near the recycling plant, Rin stepped forward. Hey, Earth Girl. We want to see your dog in action again. Mina stopped. I told you we do not want trouble. Rin grinned. You can't hide behind that dog forever. Bruno moved a step forward. His eyes glowed faintly, his body tense but calm. He did not attack. He waited, Mina whispered, Bruno, stay. The dog obeyed. Rin lifted a hand toward Mina, testing her reaction. Bruno's ears twitched. The low hum from his collar grew louder. Sparks of light reflected from his fur, faint but visible. Rin froze. You see? Mina said calmly. He is not dangerous unless he must protect me. Please do not push him. Lark, holding his metal gloves, took a step back. This is too strange. He is not normal. Rin clenched his fists. He wanted to challenge the dog, but he felt a strange weight in the air. Bruno's gaze was steady and strong. He had the presence of a warrior, controlled and focused. Mina turned and walked away slowly. Bruno followed, keeping a calm but protective stance. The older boys watched them go, speechless. That night, Mina sat in her room beside her father. Bruno lay near the door. The hum of his systems filled the quiet room. Father, Mina said softly, they tried again today. Her father nodded. I expected it. Some children do not understand power until they see it. Mina touched Bruno's fur. He is incredible, but I do not want anyone hurt. Her father smiled. He will not hurt anyone unless he must. You are his priority and he will always obey you. Mina nodded. I know, but I hope they learn without needing to see more. The next morning, the colony woke to a red dawn. The tunnels were filled with the soft sounds of walking. Mina and Bruno walked together toward school. The students watched silently. Word had spread about the incident at the garden dome. Rin and Tav whispered at the back of the classroom. I can't believe it. That dog is not normal. I have to know more. Tav shook his head. Be careful. He could seriously hurt someone if provoked. During recess, Mina went to the outer garden dome again. Bruno followed her. She sat near a glass container of small plants. Rin approached with two other boys. They were older and stronger than before. Rin's voice was low. Earth Girl, come with us. We want to see your dog act. Mina stood slowly. I told you we do not want trouble. Bruno will not fight unless necessary. One of the older boys, Kel, laughed. Let's test that theory. He reached for a small tool from his pocket. The metal piece was sharp. Bruno's eyes glowed brighter. He moved slightly in front of Mina. Mina whispered, Bruno, stay. The dog obeyed instantly. His tail lowered, body calm but ready. Kel swung the metal piece toward the dog. Bruno tapped the ground with his paw. The metal flew from Kel's hand and landed harmlessly on the floor. The older boys stepped back. Rin's jaw dropped. How did he do that? Mina stayed calm. He protects me. He does not attack unless I allow it. Please leave us alone. The boys looked at each other, unsure what to do. Bruno's presence was overwhelming. Even though he did not attack, the air around him carried strength and power that none of them could challenge. Finally, Rin whispered to Kel and the others. Let's go. This is too strange. They walked away, leaving Mina and Bruno alone in the dome. Mina breathed a sigh of relief. Bruno lowered his body, tail relaxed. That night, Mina's father asked her about the day. She explained everything calmly. He stopped them again, but no one got hurt. Her father nodded. Good, you handled it well. Remember, people fear what they do not understand. Your calmness guides him and he will follow your commands perfectly. Mina smiled softly. I am glad he is with me. Bruno rested his head on her lap. The hum of his systems was quiet but steady. Mina stroked his fur and whispered, Thank you for protecting me today. Outside, the wind carried the soft red dust across the dome. The colony was quiet at night. Bruno stayed alert, scanning every movement, ready for any danger. Mina closed her eyes. She felt safe with him. She did not know what the future would bring, but she knew one thing. With Bruno beside her, she could face anything. And though no one in the colony understood it yet, Bruno's hidden power would soon change everything. The morning after the storm, Haven's Edge woke to a calm sky. The air smelled of fresh sand and metal dust. The colony buildings were half buried, but everyone was safe. People worked together to clean the pathways, fix antennas, and gather lost equipment. Mira stood outside her family's small home, brushing Rex's fur with a soft comb. The sun reflected off his golden coat, and the blue lines beneath his skin flickered faintly. He looked calm but alert, watching every movement around them. Children who once laughed at Mira now waved shyly as they passed. The same boys who had bullied her helped carry supplies and clean debris near her house. One of them, the oldest boy named Tobin, approached slowly. His arm was wrapped in a bandage from the storm, but he walked with confidence. Mira looked up, unsure what to say. Tobin shifted awkwardly, then spoke. Hey, I wanted to say thank you for what your dog did. Mira smiled faintly. His name is Rex, Tobin nodded. Yeah, Rex, he saved me and my brother. If he hadn't found us, we would have been lost. I'm sorry for how I treated you before. Mira's eyes softened. It's all right. Rex says everyone can learn. Tobin looked at the big dog, who stared back calmly. He reached out a hand and Rex sniffed it before wagging his tail once. The boy laughed nervously. He's not scary up close. Mira nodded. Only when people do bad things. The two children shared a small laugh. For the first time, it felt like the beginning of friendship. By noon, Director Vale called for a meeting in the central hall. The entire colony gathered there, curious to hear what would happen next. Mira sat in the front row with her father and Rex beside her. The hall buzzed with excitement and whispers. Director Vale stepped onto the stage holding a small silver badge in his hand. He looked at the crowd and spoke in his firm voice. Yesterday, this colony faced one of the strongest storms in recent memory. During that storm, 2 of our children were trapped beyond the walls. They were saved not by drones or soldiers, but by a single being of loyalty and courage. A German shepherd named Rex. The people clapped loudly and Mira hugged Rex proudly. The dog sat tall and calm, his glowing lines pulsing gently. Director Vale raised the silver badge for all to see. This is the Guardian Seal. It is given only to those who protect others at great risk to themselves. From today onward, Rex will be the first non-human guardian of Haven's Edge. He walked down from the stage and knelt in front of Rex. Carefully, he attached the badge to the dog's collar. "You have earned this, Protector," he said. The crowd erupted in cheers. Children clapped, adults smiled, and even the guards saluted. Mira's father placed a hand on her shoulder. "You see, Mira, courage is not about size or age. It's about heart." Mira nodded, her face glowing with happiness. "Rex has the biggest heart in the world." After the ceremony, life in the colony slowly returned to normal. The storm had damaged some systems, but everyone worked together to rebuild. Rex became a familiar sight along the walkways, his badge shining on his collar. He helped in small ways every day. He guided the engineers by carrying toolkits in his mouth. He barked to alert people when sensors failed. He even helped pull a stuck vehicle from the sand by attaching a cable to his harness. Mira followed him everywhere. Wherever she went, the colonists greeted her with smiles instead of whispers. Some asked her about Earth, curious about the planet she came from. Others wanted to pet Rex or watch his glowing implants activate when he worked. At night, Mira often sat on the colony wall with Rex beside her. The two would watch the stars rise over the dust fields. The desert shimmered in silver light, quiet and peaceful. One evening, Tobin and his younger brother joined her. They sat on the wall, their legs dangling. "Do you think Rex gets bored here?" Tobin asked. Mira shook her head. "No, he likes it here. He has a job again. He likes protecting people." Tobin smiled. "He's a hero." Mira looked at her dog proudly. "He always was. People just didn't know it." The boys nodded in agreement. Then they all looked up at the stars in silence. A few days later, the colony faced a new challenge. The storm had uncovered an old communication relay buried in the dust fields. It had once belonged to the first settlers, but now it was unstable. The engineers needed to shut it down before it sent wrong signals to nearby ships. Aaron joined the repair team, and Mira went with him to watch from a safe distance. Rex walked beside her, his sensors active. When they reached the relay site, the engineers realized part of the tower had collapsed. A metal panel blocked the control console. They tried lifting it, but it was too heavy. "Rex," Mira said softly, pointing at the panel. "Can you help?" Rex barked once and moved forward. His mechanical joints activated, and the blue light under his skin glowed brighter. He gripped the edge of the panel with his teeth and pulled. The metal groaned and shifted. The engineers watched in amazement as the dog lifted it enough for them to reach the controls. Aaron smiled proudly. "That's it, boy. Hold steady." Once the power was safely cut, Rex released the panel and stepped back. Everyone cheered. Director Vale, who had come to observe, said, "It seems our guardian is not just brave but strong as well." Mira patted Rex's side. "He's the best helper in the galaxy." The director nodded. "I believe he might be." Word about Rex spread quickly through nearby colonies. Cargo pilots passing by Haven's Edge told stories of the brave dog who saved children and helped engineers rebuild after the storm. Some even sent small gifts like new collar lights or protective boots for Rex's paws. Mira's father built a special resting area near their home for him, complete with shade panels and a charging pad for his implants. Rex rarely used it, preferring to stay on patrol near the colony gate. He seemed to sense that his duty was to protect, and he took it seriously. Mira sometimes found him sitting there late at night, his eyes scanning the horizon. She would walk up quietly and sit beside him. "Do you miss Earth?" she asked once. Rex tilted his head and looked at her. He wagged his tail slowly. "I think you like it here more," she continued. "There's more space to run. And people like you now." Rex gave a soft bark and rested his head on her lap. Mira smiled and stroked his fur as the stars twinkled above. Weeks passed. Haven's Edge became stronger than before. The colony built better walls, stronger power grids, and new training programs for children about safety. Mira helped teach some of those classes, explaining how to stay calm during storms and what to do if they were ever lost. Rex often stood beside her during lessons. The children loved him. They laughed when he demonstrated commands or wagged his tail when they followed instructions correctly. One day after class, Tobin came running to her with exciting news. "Director Vale wants to build a statue in the central square. He said it will be of Rex." Mira's eyes widened. "A statue?" For real? Tobin nodded. He said heroes deserve to be remembered. When the statue was completed, it showed Rex standing tall, one paw slightly raised, his eyes looking toward the horizon. The silver badge on the statue's neck gleamed in the sun. The inscription read, Rex, Guardian of Haven's Edge, loyal, brave, protector of all. During the unveiling ceremony, the entire colony gathered again. Mira stood in front of the statue with tears in her eyes. She looked at the real Rex sitting beside her, his ears perked up and tail wagging as if he knew the statue was about him. Director Vale spoke to the crowd. Let this statue remind us that courage can come from unexpected places. A small girl and her faithful dog taught us to stand together, to protect one another, and to never judge by appearance. The people clapped. Mira hugged Rex tightly. You did it, she whispered. You are part of history now. Rex licked her hand and barked happily. That night, after the ceremony ended, Mira and her father walked home under the quiet stars. The colony lights shimmered softly around them. Aaron looked down at his daughter. You know, Mira, you changed this colony more than you realize. You and Rex showed them what true strength looks like. Mira smiled. I didn't do much. Rex did everything. Her father shook his head. You believed in him when others did not. That belief gave him purpose. Sometimes that is the greatest strength of all. They reached their home, and Rex settled near the door as usual. The wind was gentle now, carrying only the soft scent of sand. Mira sat beside him, resting her head against his shoulder. Good night, Rex, she whispered. Thank you for being my hero. Rex gave a soft bark in reply and closed his eyes, standing guard even in his rest. His sensors dimmed to a calm glow, lighting the small space around them. Outside, the stars continued to shine over Haven's Edge, bright and endless. And within that quiet colony, a little girl and her loyal German shepherd slept peacefully, knowing that together they had earned not only respect, but a home among the stars. The next morning, the colony was filled with whispers. Every corridor and walkway buzzed with talk about the strange incident near the dust fields. Some said the new girl's dog turned into a machine. Others claimed he was a monster from the wastelands. A few even said they saw lightning come out of his fur. Mira walked quietly beside her father as they entered the colony office. Her small hand held tightly onto his sleeve, and Rex followed at her heel. His golden fur was clean again, but faint blue lines still glowed under his skin whenever he moved. Inside the office, the colony leader, Director Vale, sat behind a wide desk covered in glowing reports. His face was calm but serious. Beside him stood two guards with neutral expressions, their stun rifles resting against their shoulders. Mr. Aaron, said the director, looking up, we have reports of an unauthorized combat machine inside the colony. Do you know anything about this? Aaron placed a hand on Rex's head and nodded. Yes, Director. That machine is my daughter's dog. His name is Rex. He is not a threat. The director's eyes moved from the man to the animal. Rex sat perfectly still, watching every move in the room. The guards shifted uneasily. Mr. Aaron, Vale continued, our sensors detected high-level military energy discharge near the dust fields yesterday. That was no ordinary pet. Explain yourself, Aaron sighed. He looked down at his daughter, who met his eyes with quiet worry. Rex is not just a dog. He was part of the Terran Defense Forces, Model GS-09 Guardian Shepherd. He served as a rescue and protection unit during the War of the Rings. After the war, most of them were dismantled. I managed to recover his core processor and rebuilt him. The director raised an eyebrow. You rebuilt a combat unit without permission? I restored a companion, Aaron corrected softly. His weapons are disabled. His combat functions are locked except in defense protocols. He is safe. Vale leaned back in his chair. You are an engineer, Mr. Aaron. You know what such machines can do. Why bring that kind of risk into a civilian colony? Aaron looked tired, but his voice stayed calm. Because my daughter was alone on Earth. The cities there were crowded, noisy, and often unsafe. Rex protected her when no one else could. When I got this assignment, I couldn't leave him behind. For a long moment, the only sound was the hum of the office lights. Then Director Vale turned his gaze toward Mira. Is that true, little one? He asked gently. Mira nodded. Rex never hurts good people. He helps. The director tapped a few keys on his desk console. Several children reported that Rex attacked them yesterday. Is that what you call helping? Mira swallowed hard. They threw stones at him. They pushed me in the dirt. Rex only stopped them. He did not bite anyone. The director looked at her for a moment longer and then leaned back. All right. I believe you. But the colony board must still review this matter. A military-grade dog cannot roam free until we decide what to do. Rex let out a low sound that was not quite a growl. Mira placed her hand on his neck and whispered something to calm him. Vale nodded toward the guards. You may go for now. Please keep Rex confined to your quarters until further notice. Aaron agreed politely, and the three of them left the office. Back at their home, the small metal building at the colony's edge, Mira sat beside Rex on the floor. She brushed his fur slowly with a soft cloth, while her father worked on a console nearby. The light from the desert sun shone through the window, catching the faint blue lines under Rex's fur. He will take him away, won't he? She asked in a quiet voice. Aaron stopped typing and looked at her. I hope not, Mira, but we must be careful now. Some people fear what they do not understand. Rex raised his head and looked at them both. His tail thumped lightly against the floor. Mira smiled and hugged him. They will see he is good. Aaron smiled faintly. Yes, they will. Outside, the sky had started to turn orange. Wind began to pick up from the dust fields, carrying fine grains of sand that rattled against the colony's walls. Aaron looked up at the warning display on his console. His face changed instantly. A sandstorm, he muttered. A big one. The alarms began to sound across the colony. Red lights flashed through the corridors. A robotic voice announced, "Severe storm approaching. All citizens return to shelters immediately." Mira ran to the window and saw clouds of sand rolling over the horizon like a giant wave. Stay inside, Aaron said, grabbing his tool pack. I need to help the repair team secure the energy tower. Mira looked frightened. Can I come? No, he said firmly. You stay here with Rex. Do not open the door for anyone. She nodded reluctantly. Rex barked once as if promising to keep her safe. Aaron left quickly, closing the airlock behind him. Within minutes, the storm reached the colony. The sky went dark. Sand slammed into the walls with loud, angry sounds. The power flickered. The wind howled through every crack. Mira sat in the corner with Rex beside her. She tried to stay calm, but she could feel the metal floor shaking. Suddenly, the colony speaker crackled with static and a voice shouted through it. This is Security Team 4. We have lost contact with the east perimeter. 2 children are missing near the dust fields, Mira gasped. She recognized the names. They were the same boys who had bullied her yesterday. She looked at Rex. They are out there, she whispered. Rex's sensors activated instantly. The blue light in his eyes brightened. He stood up, tail stiff, ears high. No, Rex, she said quickly. Papa said stay inside, but Rex didn't move toward the door. He looked at her and made a short bark, almost like he was asking for permission. Mira looked at the airlock, then at the storm outside. Her small hands trembled. They will die out there, she whispered. Go, Rex, save them. She pressed the emergency latch. The door opened with a hiss and the storm wind rushed in. Rex jumped out into the swirling dust and vanished. The storm raged for hours. Inside the control room, Aaron worked desperately with the other engineers to keep the colony's systems stable. The wind was too strong, and several power lines had already broken. He shouted into his comm link. Where is Security Team 4? A guard's voice answered with static. Still searching the east side. Visibility near 0. 2 children still missing, Aaron froze, his mind filled with worry. Then another voice cut through the noise. Wait, I'm getting something on thermal scan. Large heat source moving fast toward the colony. It's heading straight for us. Aaron ran to the monitor. Through the swirling red haze of the thermal display, a shape appeared, 4-legged, powerful, carrying 2 smaller forms across the desert. That's Rex, he whispered. The control room fell silent as the scanners confirmed the identification. The shape reached the colony gate and barked once. The guards rushed to open the airlock. Rex stumbled in, covered in sand. His fur was half buried in dust, and the blue lines on his body glowed brightly in the darkness. In his jaws, he gently held the sleeve of a small boy's coat, while another child clung to his back. Both were coughing but alive. Mira ran out from her home, shouting his name. Rex, the dog, wagged his tail weakly as she hugged him. The guards carried the children inside, wrapping them in blankets. Director Vale arrived minutes later, his face pale from shock. He looked from the rescued boys to the sand-covered dog standing proudly beside Mira. He went out there alone? He asked. Aaron nodded. He did what he was made to do, protect. The director watched the dog for a moment, then turned to the boys. Is this true? Did he save you? The older boy nodded slowly. Yes, sir. The storm was too strong. We couldn't find the way back. He came out of the sand and pushed us toward the lights. I thought he was going to attack us, but he kept barking until we followed him. The director placed a hand on Aaron's shoulder. You said his combat systems were locked? They are, Aaron replied. He only uses defense protocols, but his rescue functions are still active. The director nodded. Then it seems we owe him thanks. He turned toward Mira. Your dog saved 2 lives today. The colony will not forget that. Mira smiled proudly and hugged Rex tighter. The dog leaned into her, his metal implants humming softly like a heartbeat. Later that night, after the storm passed, the colony lights glowed again. The air was calm and stars shone above the desert. In the central square, the colonists gathered around Mira, her father, and Rex. Director Vale stood before them and spoke clearly. Today this colony learned the truth about courage. Sometimes it comes in small shapes. Sometimes it has fur and glowing eyes. This unit, GS-09, known as Rex, acted with honor and bravery. From now on, he will be registered as an official guardian of Haven's Edge. The crowd cheered. Even the boys who once bullied Mira stood quietly, their eyes filled with respect. Rex stood beside Mira, tail wagging as if he understood every word. Mira looked up at the director and smiled. Thank you, sir. Rex will keep everyone safe. The director smiled back. I believe that. As the people began to leave, Mira looked down at her dog. See, Rex? They know you are good now. Rex gave a soft bark in reply. His eyes reflected the light of the stars, bright and gentle. Mira placed her small hand on his head. You are not just my protector. You are everyone's protector now. Aaron watched them both, pride shining in his eyes. The wind carried the sounds of laughter through the colony. For the first time since they arrived, Mira felt like she truly belonged. Rex sat beside her, strong and calm, guarding the little girl who had always believed in him. Together,